I would highly recommend New Year's Eve celebration. I think it's called Revellion or Revellion. I'll pull that up here shortly. And then I would recommend the Carnival Samba Parade, which I think this year is going to be like March 30th time frame. So I would definitely recommend, going down there for about a week, because, obviously it's a pretty good flight. It's about 8 hours travel from Miami. So, you don't want to, my humble opinion, you don't want to go down for 2, 3 days, take an 8 hour flight, go down and then, stay for 2, 3 days, just get over jet lag and then having to fly 8 hours back. You want to give yourself about a good 7 to 14 days. That was what I would recommend. At minimum, I'd say 5 to 7 days, but I would really, you really want to do 14 days. That way you're not trying to rush everything. You can do one tourist activity per day, go to one nice restaurant per day, and then get to just enjoy and relax on vacation, hang out at the beach, drink a couple of caipirinhas and just kind of really take it in as opposed to like, rushing the entire vacation. We'll get into that a little bit. All right. And I'm going to just show you just a quick map. I'm going to do another share screen here, and I'm going to show you like a map of Rio here, one of my screens here. So if you look here, you can just kind of see, obviously we're up here in the United States, right? And you can see that Rio, Brazil is way down south below the equator. So it's actually summertime right now in Rio, Brazil. So Rio de Janeiro is right here on the Atlantic coast, of Brazil. So literally, I flew from Tampa, Florida, and I flew all the way down to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and you can see how it's kind of more to the east. So actually Rio is actually 2 hours ahead of East Coast time. So currently right now it's like what, 2:30 p.m. in Rio, Brazil. In just so you can have that for account. And you can see, you think, Colombia is only a 3 hour flight, right? That's still Latin America. And obviously they speak Spanish in Colombia, but Colombia, Medellin's about a 3 hour flight from Orlando or from Miami. But Rio, Brazil, you're talking about an 8 hour flight, right? It's just as far as going to Europe. You can see how close Rio is to Africa. So you can see that's almost like a shorter trip going from, Africa to Brazil than it is from just about going from the States. So you can see, so I flew down from Tampa through Miami. We're going to go over flights as well. And down to Rio is about 8 hours out of Miami. So 1 hour from Tampa to Miami, and then 8 hours down to Rio, Brazil, here in the Eastern Coast. So, typically, the flights are going to be at night, from Florida in general. We're going to get into the travel and things like that here shortly. But, it's about an 8 hour flight. Typically, you'll leave at like 9 or 10 at night, arrive at like 8 or 9 in the morning, into Rio de Janeiro. GIG is the airport code, Rio Airport, right? So we'll stop right. All right. So the next thing, we'll go ahead and stop my share screen for a quick sec. But the next thing, the language in Rio, Brazil is Portuguese. So, it's kind of funny, right? Because, all for the most part, everywhere in Latin America is Spanish, right? You go to Colombia, you go to Dominican Republic, you go to Mexico, it's Spanish pretty much everywhere. But in Brazil, they speak Portuguese. So just kind of know that, when you get ready to go to Brazil, in my humble opinion, it's always a good idea to brush up on the local language before you go. Maybe, download, a Rosetta Stone and do maybe a couple of modules on there just to say, hello, goodbye, you want to order a beer. How do you ask for, a conta, the bill, things like that in Portuguese. Like I said, Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, you can even do YouTube actually has like, for example, for Spanish, right? It's like Spanish while you sleep. So literally you can put it on like an 8 hour video on YouTube, and it literally has like, rain in the background. It actually helps you sleep at night, and it plays different Spanish phrases, at night while you're sleeping. If you can do Spanish while you sleep. They also have Portuguese while you sleep as well. So literally for 8 hours while you're sleeping, you can like kind of have that Portuguese kind of sunk into your subconscious. And it definitely helps with, pronunciation, different things like that. So there's definitely different ways, free ways you can go online and, learn, Portuguese. I'd highly recommend, obviously, you want to use Google Translate as a lifesaver. Pretty much, you can go anywhere in the world, use Google Translate, and it's of course, you'd like to, speak, the native language, right? You want to go to Brazil, you want to be able to speak some Portuguese, but don't let that stop you. People say, oh, I hear a lot of times people that travel go, oh, don't go to the country and you don't know the language, different things like that. I totally disagree. I think there's nothing wrong. If you speak no Spanish, no Portuguese, just go anyways, wing it, use your Google Translate. That'll help you out. I would rather go and use Google Translate, and at least I got to experience it and learn while I was there, as opposed to, obviously you want to try to speak it, but as opposed to not going and when I'm going to wait 6 months to a year to try to learn the language. Obviously that's the ideal situation, but go anyways, immerse yourselves, give it a shot, and what I would recommend people doing is obviously you want to use, download Google Translate, and then you can download the offline for free Portuguese package on your phone. So that way, if you don't have connection to the internet, you still have Portuguese, the Portuguese package on your inside of Google Translate.